But first, I've annoyed a few people today. I very publicly aired my dirty laundry. It's a breakup, something generally done in private. And well, to be honest, to the person's face, I did neither. I wrote an open letter to, well, the Prime Minister and his government, telling them in no uncertain terms that our relationship was over. I didn't even text them first. Published it in the newspaper too. I know, tacky. But I feel like in some cases you don't have to do it the right way, especially if you've been let down. And I have been. We all have been. And no, I don't have $3 million in super. I wish. Anthony Albanese and his government have broken a promise. It doesn't matter that they are trying to argue it's not a big deal. It's the right thing. It won't impact the vast majority of people. They said one thing and they did another. It's a breach of trust. If we can't believe what they say about this, how do we believe them regarding anything else? And on that, how do they expect us to get on side with this if they even aren't on the same page as each other? It's one thing to try and convince us to forgive and accept a lie, but it's a much tougher task if they can't even agree on the same fib. If the PM, his Treasurer and his Deputy don't know what's going on, what hope do any of us have? Here's Richard Miles doing Breakfast TV this morning.
It doesn't come into play until after the next election. But at the end of the day, we've got to make the system sustainable. We inherited a budget from Peter and his crew, which was $1 trillion in debt, and there's nothing to show for it. And we need to be responsible, and that's what we're trying to do.
Now, he was asked about the detail and he could not articulate it. Earlier in the week, Jim Chalmers had to be corrected by his leader.
Under your reign as Treasurer, you will never change the capital gains tax exemption on the family home.
Well, it's not my intention. It's not something I've been thinking about, working up, contemplating.
Just say guarantee.
Well, we don't know what the situation might look like in 10 or 15 years' time under other governments.
Can you rule it out?
Well, we have no. Yes, we are not. We are not going to impact the family home. Full stop! Exclamation mark.
Former Prime Minister John Howard says those two are now having a Barney, his word. Now, it feels, to borrow a sporting term, like a real own goal here. Now, back to this breakup. And yes, thank you, I'll be okay. The support of readers, viewers and some on Twitter has, I must say, been heartening. Let me share a few with you. Albanese only cares about two things, himself and Toto, writes Anthony, not the PM, I'm assuming. Spoken like a true Liberal, writing for a true Liberal publication. Thank you, Greg, that's very callous. And Dictate says, he's not worth your heart. Don't expect him to come grovelling back. You will just be gaslit. It's really heartwarming stuff. Now, of course, what I'm really doing here is making the point about trust and the damage done regardless of the nature of the relationship when it's broken. Only time will tell whether Labor can win enough of it back before we all get a say again.